What's up from 50 States My Way? It's Ashley and driver Ryan, and we are road tripping to state number 12, which for us is Little Rock, Arkansas, for the Little Rock Marathon, and for me, the 10K. We're going to share our road tripping adventures in this next series of videos and vlogs, all the fun things that we do literally along the way. Some stops in Kentucky, some stops in Tennessee, and definitely a ton of stops and fun adventures inside of the state of Arkansas. Like, give us a thumbs up, and comment down below if you have ever been to Little Rock, Arkansas, and some of the fun things that you have done, or if you've traveled down 71 to 65 to 40, which is the way we're going, that takes you through Louisville, then on to Nashville, on to Memphis, and then on to Little Rock, and all of the fun things to see along the way. We'd love to hear your own adventures, and we're excited to share ours with you. So again, this is Ashley and Ryan.
Hi.
Stay tuned for more. When driving through Kentucky, what better place to stop at than the Abraham Lincoln Birthplace National Park Service Historical Site. We're really excited, another stamp in our passport and a little bit of history along the way. According to this sign coming into the National Historical Park, it says that the Lincoln Museum, which I didn't even know existed, is 2.9 miles. There's also Lincoln's boyhood home and then the Kentucky Railway Museum. We're also in the heart of Bourbon Country. We've been passing signs for Maker's Mark and Heaven Hill. We're really close to Elizabethtown and Bardstown, so if you want to know where this location is, it's right between Elizabethtown and Bowling Green, Kentucky. Right after you pass Elizabethtown, you'll start seeing signs for the Abraham Lincoln Historical Park. So here we are, and we're going to keep driving inside to find out what we can see. So we are inside the visitor center and just had a really great conversation with the park ranger, and we learned a lot more about this location. So a lot of individuals will think that President Abraham Lincoln is from Springfield, Illinois, and I just learned that on this farm, this is where Abraham Lincoln was born, and this was his boyhood farm until he was about the age of 8, where he moved up the road, and his father farmed 32 acres in Knob Creek. After that, they moved to the Indiana area and didn't move to Illinois until he was about 21 years of age. So for those of you history buffs out there, President Lincoln's grandfather came into the Kentucky area with Daniel Boone. For those of you who know Daniel Boone and Davy Crockett, Daniel Boone was linked to the Lincoln family, and this is where Abraham Lincoln's father was really keen on farming, and we're going to see a monument and a replica of the log cabin here in a little bit. But inside of the visitor center, we have born to a pioneer family, Thomas and Nancy Lincoln, their daughter Sarah, and their son Abraham, who was born on Sunday, February 12th, 1809. So happy belated, many hundreds of years later, birthday to Abraham. This right here, Thomas Lincoln Jr., this simple fieldstone once marked the grave of Abraham Lincoln's younger brother, Thomas Lincoln Jr., who was born in 1812 but lived only a few days. The frontier was a dangerous place to raise children, and obviously many of the families, you know, that's why they had so many children back then. For those of you who are like, wow, they had like 12 kids, it's because not very many lived to adulthood. Nice little exhibit store, and we're of course going to get our stamp. Oh, this is really neat. Memorializing a president. This right here is a wall completely comprised of pennies, which for those of you who've never looked at our currency, President Lincoln is on our penny. The Gettysburg Lincoln by Robert Burks. We're getting another stamp and our passport. Checking the date. I'm going to actually stamp over here to make sure it's doing it right. There we go. And just for good measure, because this one's really cool since this is where the log cabin replica is, I am going to also add this little stamp underneath it.
Okay, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
That has Abraham Lincoln's birthplace in the little log cabin. Another national park crossed off the list. For those who are interested in the passports, we have the collector's edition passport, which is the bigger book. But there are smaller versions of the passport book. I didn't close the ink pad. I got to do that. There we go. And if you see, this is the little book. So you can still get the stickers like we do and add the stamps. That's this little book right here. We wanted to be able to have the bigger book because it gives a little bit more description, but we always have to look for the stickers to go with it. And we did find our 2016 Abraham Lincoln Birthplace, and then we'll put these stickers into the other locations. That way when we go to those locations, we already have the sticker and then we just get the stamp. But there are so many other things that you can collect, and we are going to add a mini puzzle, which I love puzzles, to commemorate some of the things we do. And they have an ornament, which Ryan found, and y'all know how much I love my ornaments. All right, so again, there is a museum inside of this visitor center. Ryan's taking pictures as usual. Tools for taming the land. So this is really neat. If you think about like how they cut wood and built cabins and things like that, it's just really cool with the notching system. There are a lot of people who are kind of going back to that type of building if they're building off-grid, which is kind of neat. Black bear skin. Mini Lincoln Memorial, which from what I understand, this is going to be our next stop. Looks like in here, different ladles and kitchen tools. And this is a beaver pelt, which this would have fetched a lot of money. Beaver were typically caught and traded for years and years and years and years. And it says right here, the demand for beaver was so great that the Iroquois depleted populations in the east, causing them to turn toward Algonquin territory in the west. For 80 years, tribes fought violently for the Great Lakes region in Kentucky in order to monopolize the trade in beaver furs. So yeah, it was a really, really big cash making pelt. This right here is a mountain lion. So yes, there are mountain lions in this region. Ooh, and up here, this is a Kentucky long rifle. It's really neat. There's Ryan. We're going to continue this way. So this is really kind of cool how they have it like it looks like you're in a cabin, but you're not. And we're going to go see the replica in a minute. This walnut table was made by Thomas Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln's father. Thomas Lincoln was a well-known woodworker and was employed in nearby Elizabethtown in this profession before moving to the Sinking Springs farm, which is where we're located right now. That's really pretty. Wow, that's actually beautiful. This is the family Bible. Bibles were often the only book that frontier families owned. This Bible, printed in 1799, belonged to the Lincoln family. A grown-up Abraham Lincoln recorded his own birth and other important dates in the Bible's family pages. Those pages are now kept by the Chicago Historical Society, obviously. But here, look at that, is the Lincoln Family Bible. And this Bible is from 1799. Look at that. So I thought when we were going to come here that it was literally just going to be the visitor center and then this memorial that we're about to go to. But apparently there's about 3 miles of hiking trails, as well as just some really nice walking trails around here. So in typical national park fashion, this is just absolutely beautiful. And it's really neat to know that the National Park Service, took on the responsibility of maintaining what used to be the farm. So we're going to take a peek inside the memorial building, which again, the National Park Ranger was telling us has a lot of history to it. And he was explaining that to go up, which we're going to see the steps in just a second here, to go up the steps, there are 56 steps, recognizing that President Lincoln was 56 years old when he died. And then inside, there are 16 rosettes and 16 windows commemorating him as the 16th president. Wow. This is an absolutely beautiful monument. I mean, the Lincoln Monument in Washington, D.C. is just like awe-inspiring and it packs a punch. But this in its simplicity is just beautiful. This is the sinking spring, which every farm, water is the most important thing. Abraham Lincoln probably took his first drink of water from this spring. A dependable water source undoubtedly was an important factor in Thomas Lincoln's decision to purchase Sinking Spring Farm. The sinking spring is an example of a karst window, an unusual landform. A karst window is a special type of sinkhole that gives us a view into the karst aquifer. Let's go take a look. We can actually go down to the spring. And for any of you in Kentucky, we know that, or who like Kentucky as much as I do, for its bourbon, the reason why Kentucky bourbon flourishes the way that it does is because of the amount of natural springs that Kentucky has. You need water to make bourbon. However, it is noted that you should not drink the water or throw coins, obviously. And he almost fell. That's what he gets for being goofy. This is not the art museum in Philadelphia. For those of you who don't know that reference, he was humming Rocky, climbing the steps. This building that we're standing in right now is actually the first Lincoln Memorial. Everybody again thinks about the Lincoln Memorial being in Washington, D.C., but this location here was the first. This building was built, constructed on the Lincoln Farm between 1909 and 1911. It is 11 years older than the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. When the memorial building was finished, the cabin was reassembled inside. At the time, many people believed that it was the actual Birthplace cabin. Others had doubts, but there was no way to prove it one way or another. In 2004, a tree ring analysis of the logs dated the cabin to about 1840s, so it could not have been the Lincoln home. However, it is typical of cabins found throughout early America. The Lincoln cabin was likely very similar to this one.
For the Lincoln Farm Association, the contrast between this little cabin and the grand memorial building was symbolic of American democracy. Only in a democracy could someone rise from such humble beginnings to achieve greatness, as did Abraham Lincoln. These little rosettes that adorn the ceiling, there are 16 of them to symbolize that Lincoln was the 16th president. We were wondering what this bridge pathway was when we were back by the monument. So for those who are disabled or who don't want to climb the 56 steps like we did, the memorial building actually takes you, this is how you can get to it. And it looks like a really nice, just little bridge that, again, takes you right up the hill all the way back to where the monument is. Well, Run 50 States My Way, when you're road tripping, the best thing that we have figured out to do is to literally pack our lunch. We always stop at Jersey Mike's and get a sub that we put in our Yeti cooler. We normally eat our sandwich some rest stop along the way, but since we're here at the Abraham Lincoln Birthplace National Historic Park, we found out that there is this amazing picnic pavilion along with 3 miles of trail. So this is where we are officially eating lunch. And with that, we hope you like this video. Subscribe to our channel, especially because we have so much content coming at you on our Little Rock road trip for the Little Rock Marathon, as well as comment down below if you have ever been to any of the Lincoln historical locations along the Lincoln Historical Byway here in Kentucky. Thanks for watching Run 50 States My Way. This is Ashley saying we'll see you next time.